Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Hi and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Firstly, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Fazli Beshamsuddin, and I would like to introduce my group member, which is we have Nur Amirah Zakiyah binti Rosli, Sa'dah binti Muhammad Musaram, and Nurul Hikmah binti Jamsari, Ashkan Nuzirah binti Izam Ista, and lastly, our group leader is Luqman Nuhakim bin Kadir Hussein. Uh, all members and me we like to we will like to present about the logistic management group assignment. So next we go to the agenda, which is have an introduction, company background, findings, discussion, recommendation, reference, and happenings. So we move to the introduction, which is introduction have the logistic is the control of the flow of goods between the exchange of products, information, and resources, location of origin, and the point of consumption. Logistic management is the component of supply chain management that plans, implements, and regulates the efficient, effective forwards and reverse movement and storage of products. Service and associate information between the point of origin and the point of consumption to fulfill the needs of consumers. Logistics operates in the context of supply chain management to the move and position inventory to accomplish desired time, place, and position advantage at the lowest overall cost. So, this report will contain the project, which is have a three project: one, project two, and project three. This project will describe or explain the utilization of logistic management methods and sustainment. Thank you. We go through the next slide.
Hi, my name is Ashkan Zahra binti Izham Istar and my matric number is CP 2068. Firstly, I will presenting about the company background. So, Fastway Logistics Sdn Berhad was founded more than a decade, is an integrated logistic firm providing supply chain management to the manufacturer, distributor, retailer and service providers starting with temperature control storage. So Fastway Logistic has divided into three main services, which include cold chain warehouse, transportation, and halal service provider. So firstly, for the cold chain warehouse, it enables end-to-end logistic management from delivering, allocate storage area, and dispatching the frozen meals. Not only that, it also ensures the highest quality and safety of the perishable commodities since it can guarantee the food is undamaged and safe for the consumption. The second one is transportation. Transportation offers longer cross-border service that generally dependable, durable, secure and efficient. Not only that, it also enhances the productivity, adequate product flow, hassle-free land and transportation of freight. And for the last one is halal service provider. Since all consumers around the world are concerned about the food safety, since it can resulting to longer life and healthy life, Fastway Logistics has implemented the halal certificate in their company, which has recognized by the JAKIM. For the next part is the center of gravity method. The center of gravity method is a technique of determining the optimal site for a centralized distribution center. So for this strategy, it calculates for the geographic coordinate, so it can easier to calculate which area is the suitable place to make a distribution center. So this technique evaluate the ideal site based on the market location, the number of goods, shipping costs while considering current warehouse facility. So the center of gravity determined based on the supply of demand and also the lowest distribution cost.
My name is Amira Zakir. I will present about the project 1, which is this question need to using center of gravity method. Center of gravity method is to find an appropriate location for new facilities or location for the project. First of all, center of gravity need to calculate and find a coordinate for the new location. First, we need to sum up all the total x coordinate that given by the equation, and uh, need to divide to total of consumption rate. So, in the equation, the x coordinate is the total of x coordinate is 37,700 divided by total sum of consumption rate, which is 800. And after get the answer is 47.1, which is this is for coordinate x new location. So for the y coordinate, we need to sum up all the total of y coordinate, which is we got 47,800 divide by all consumption rate. After divide, we got the answer is 59.8. So after we got x coordinate and y coordinate, we need to point into the graph, which is this is show the suitable and appropriate location for new location for the company.
For project 2, there are three types of transportation problem models that can solve the issues faced by Perolos Second Berhad. First transportation problem is northwest corner, which is the technique used to determine the initial workable solution to the transportation problem is known as the northwest corner rules. This strategy is known as the northwest corner because the fundamental variable are chosen from the very left corner. Second, least cost method. Another technique for finding the first workable solution to the transportation problem is the least cost approach. The cell with the lowest cost is where the allocation process starts in this case. In order to reduce the cost of transportation, lower cost cells are preferred over higher cost one.
And the last part in transportation problem is Vogel approximation method or VAM. One technique used to determine the initial basic workable solution to a transportation problem is the Vogel approximation method. However, because VAM is an iterative process, we must choose the least expensive and second least expensive option in each phase to determine the penalty for every available row and column. These are the example of the element in least cost method, which is the element are shipping cost, distribution, supply, and demand. The first step, we must choose the lowest in the column or row. So first we choose the 6 because that is the lowest, and the supply it become 100 and the demand 0 because of the supply fulfill the demand. Next, we choose 7. The demand become 150 and the supply becomes 0. Next, we choose 9. The supply becomes 0 and the demand become 50. After that is 10. We cannot choose the 10 in the second row because of the supply cannot fulfill the demand.
So we choose a tank that has a supply and demand. So for this tank that has a demand is 150 and the supply is 200, we allocate all the demand, so the demand is become 0 and the supply become 50. Lastly, we choose cost of transportation is 12. and the remaining is only 50, and give all the supply and demand to this particular shell. So for the least cost method, there are only 5 costs that we choose to allocate all the supply and demand. The total of least cost method only 5,600. So Perilos student Berhad can choose the least cost method rather than VAM and Northwest Corner to solve their problem according to transportation.
Hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Loman Hakim Karimsin. My matrix number is AP190059. So I'm going to present about Project 3. So for Project 3, halal logistics refers to the process of delivering halal products along the halal supply chain to reduce the possibility of contamination during distribution. Basic logistics process such as transportation, warehousing, material handling, and procurement must be Sharia compliant. Firstly, did not meet Sharia compliance. As we can see here, the shipping items did not meet Sharia compliance in shipping activities. Enterprise must be aware of the types of input they handle and follow Sharia regulations to economize on shipping expenses. Halal meat lovers in Berhad and its suppliers place halal items on this same load carrier as other commodities that may contain non-halal goods. Halal items should not be combined with non-halal products during the logistical process to guarantee that a product halal certification is kept. This should not be taken lightly, since doing so may result a revocation of the halal certification. Secondly, as we can see here, commodities that might include in non-halal goods. After arriving at the target port, the item were housed in a low temperature area alongside other commodities that might include non-halal goods. Halal and non-halal items must be kept distinct throughout the halal logistical process for raw materials to completed goods, including transportation and storage. As a result, halal item must be kept separate from non-halal commodities in refrigerators or under regulated physical segregations. The quantities of halal and non-halal commodities entering and exiting the temperature chamber must be recorded. In addition, manufacturing records must be coordinated on a regular basis to ensure the legitimacy of the halal products. Last but not least, the packaging process, as we can see here, is very important to incorporate halal logistics into overall logistics strategy if one desire to accomplish successful logistic management of a halal supply chain. Secondly, the organization must have outstanding visibility of its supply chain, which should be backed by key performance metrics. Furthermore, halal logistics audits should be performed on a regular basis to ensure that the halal logistic performance is under control. Audit must be undertaken on the process of sourcing towards the supplier, distribution towards the customer, and material handling within the organization. This is very critical since a bad performance in halal industry may have major consequences for the firm's image and brand, which the company may not be able to recover for many years. As a result, in our conclusion, it is critical to include consideration of halal logistic requirement in the contact between the shipper and the logistic service provider. Thank you so much.